If you have a Roth IRA right now, open it up. Look at what's inside. If you see a money market fund, a bond fund, or just cash sitting there doing nothing, you are burning the most valuable account in the entire tax code. The Roth IRA is the only account where your money grows tax-free, comes out tax-free, passes to your kids tax-free, and the government never forces you to take it out. No other account does all four of those things. Not your 401k, not your traditional IRA, not your brokerage. Nothing. And yet, millions of people over 50 are filling this account with investments that belong somewhere else. Low-yield bonds, cash equivalents, municipal bond funds that are already tax-exempt, which means you're sheltering something that doesn't need shelter. That's like putting sunscreen on in a basement. Here's what that costs. $8,000 a year in a money market fund at 4% for 20 years gives you about $238,000. That same $8,000 in a growth ETF averaging 10%, over $500,000. The difference is $266,000 of tax-free wealth gone. Not because the market crashed, because the money was in the wrong seat. Today, I'm showing you the 4 best ETFs for your Roth IRA if you're over 50. Each one earns its spot for a specific tax-driven reason. And the one most people skip, it might be the most important pick right now because of something happening in the market that hasn't happened in 100 years. Quick note, I'm not a financial advisor or government employee. Everything here is for educational purposes only. For your specific situation, always check with a qualified professional. But first, you need to understand why your Roth space is so much more valuable than you think. Once you see the math, everything else clicks. Why your Roth space is worth more than you think. Most people think of their Roth as just another retirement bucket. That misses the point entirely. In 2026, if you're 50 or older, you can contribute up to $8,600. That's the new catch-up limit, raised by the IRS for the first time in 20 years. It's now indexed to inflation under Secure 2.0, so it'll keep climbing. Let's run that forward. A 50-year-old who maxes out at $8,600 a year for 20 years, earning 10%, ends up with roughly $540,000, every penny tax-free. At 8%, it's about $430,000. Even at 7%, you clear $350,000, tax-free. Now compare that to a taxable brokerage holding the exact same investments. In a brokerage, you pay taxes on dividends every year, capital gains when you sell. Over 20 years, that tax drag eats 12 to 18% of your total return. On a $500,000 balance, that's $60,000 to $90,000 the Roth would have projected. And it doesn't stop with you. Leave a $500,000 Roth to your daughter. Under current rules, she has 10 years to empty it, but every dollar comes out federal income tax free. At 8% growth for 9 years before she withdraws, that becomes over $1 million. If the same money sat in a traditional IRA at a 24% bracket, the IRS takes roughly $250,000, $250,000 you either give to your family or give to the government. The only thing that determines which one is what you hold inside that Roth. One more thing nobody mentions, your Roth has no required minimum distributions during your lifetime. Your traditional IRA forces withdrawals starting at 73, whether you need the money or not. The Roth IRA, you never have to touch it. It compounds tax-free for decades after you retire. That's not just a retirement account, that's a legacy account. So now you know what your Roth is really worth. But here's the problem. Most people treat every account the same investments everywhere. And that one habit is quietly costing them thousands a year. Let me show you what actually belongs in this account. The 4 ETFs that earned their Roth space. Not every good ETF is a good Roth ETF. The question isn't just what's a good fund, it's what fund benefits the most from being inside a tax-free account. Those are 2 very different questions. Number 1, SCHG, Schwab US Large Cap Growth. This is the growth engine. About 200 of the largest growth companies in America. Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon. Over the past 10 years, roughly 18% returns per year, and the expense ratio is 0.04%, 4 cents per $100. Basically free. Why does this belong in the Roth? Growth stocks compound by reinvesting profits rather than paying big dividends. The real payoff comes decades later, and inside a Roth, that entire payoff is tax-free. In a taxable account, you'd owe federal taxes on those dividends every year, even if you reinvest them. In a taxable account, you'd owe capital gains taxes when you sell. In here, zero. The bigger the growth, the more the Roth saves you. 35% of your Roth here. Number 2, SCHD, Schwab US Dividend Equity. This is your ballast, currently yielding about 3.3%. For every $10,000 invested, you collect roughly $330 a year in dividends. In a taxable account, you'd owe federal taxes on those dividends every year, even if you reinvest them. Inside the Roth, every penny is yours, compounding tax-free. Right now, the Magnificent 7 stocks make up over 34% of the S&P 500. That's the highest concentration in decades. If you only own an S&P 500 fund, over a third of your money is in 7 companies. SCHD has only about 7% overlap with the S&P 500. It's loaded with healthcare, consumer staples, and energy, sectors that hold up when big tech pulls back. That's not just diversification, that's insurance. 25% here. Number 2, VTI, Vanguard Total Stock Market. This is your foundation. Over 3,500 stocks across every size and sector, large cap, mid cap, small cap, all in one fund at 3 cents per $100. Vanguard just cut fees again in early 2026 as part of their biggest reduction in 50 years. Why VTI instead of VOO? VTI gives you about 500 more stocks that VOO doesn't touch. Those mid and small cap names bring real diversification. And the Magnificent 7 weighs slightly less in VTI than VOO, so you're naturally reducing concentration risk. 25% here. Before I reveal the 4th ETF, and I think this is the most interesting one on the list right now, drop a comment below. What are you currently holding inside your Roth IRA? I read every single comment. Are you heavy in growth, dividends, index funds? Let me know. Number 4, AVUV, Avantis US Small Cap Value. This is the kicker. Small cap value stocks have historically been the highest returning segment of the US stock market over long periods. The academic research goes back decades. And right now, small cap value is trading at what analysts are calling a 100-year valuation gap compared to large cap growth. With the Fed having already cut rates by 175 basis points since September 2024, the tailwinds are building. Lower borrowing costs directly help smaller companies that rely on floating rate debt. Here's the Roth-specific reason. AVUV is actively managed, higher turnover than a simple index fund. In a taxable account, that turnover generates capital gains distributions, and you owe taxes on gains you didn't choose to realize. Inside a Roth, no 199, no tax bill. Active management becomes a feature instead of a cost. The expense ratio is 0.25%, higher than the other 3, but the Roth neutralizes the tax cost that comes with it, 15% here. Altogether, blended expense ratio of about 7 cents per $100. Magnificent 7 exposure drops from 34% to about 25%. Growth engine, income ballast, broad foundation, factor kicker, all inside the one account where every dollar of gain is yours. Now, most channels would stop here, but there's a second layer that separates people who pick good funds from people who actually build wealth. It's called asset location, and it might be the most valuable free strategy most retirees never hear about. The right ETF in the wrong account costs you thousands. Here's the myth. You should hold the same mix of investments in every account. Same percentages in your 401k, your Roth, and your brokerage. Keep it simple. Here's the truth. Simple isn't always smart. Morningstar's research estimates that proper asset location adds 20 to 50 basis points of annual return. On $1 million portfolio, that's $2,000 to $5,000 a year, free. No extra risk, just smarter placement. The playbook is straightforward. Your Roth gets the highest growth and most tax-inefficient investments. Growth ETFs, dividend funds, actively managed funds, REITs, anything that would generate the biggest tax bill elsewhere, you shelter here. Your taxable brokerage gets broad, low-turnover index funds. International funds go here too, because in a taxable account, you can claim the foreign tax credit. Put those same international funds in a Roth, and that credit vanishes. Your traditional IRA gets bonds and the lowest growth holdings. Everything coming out of a traditional IRA is taxed as ordinary income regardless, so save the Roth for what grows fastest. Barbara and Jean from Arizona are 61, 1.4 million across 3 account types. For years, same 3-fund mix everywhere. Their advisor moved the Dividend ETF and small cap fund into the Roth, shifted bonds to the traditional IRA, and kept the total market index in the brokerage. Same allocation, same risk, just different placement. The result? Roughly $4,000 a year in reduced taxes. Over 25 years, that compounds to approximately $200,000 of additional wealth from a strategy that costs nothing. Your Roth is the last account you touch, and the first one you should fill with growth. So now you have the ETFs and the placement strategy, but if you're between 50 and 72, there's one more play that could save you more in taxes than anything else we've covered today: the gap year conversion play. When you retire, your income drops, often dramatically. No salary, Social Security might not have kicked in, required minimum distributions don't start until 73 or 75 if you were born in 1960 or later. Those years between retirement and RMDs are what planners call the gap years. For most people, this is the lowest tax bracket they'll ever sit in again. Smart retirees use those gap years to convert traditional IRA money into the Roth. They pay tax at their current low bracket, usually 22 or 24%, instead of waiting for RMDs to stack on top of Social Security and push them higher later. The converted money then grows inside the Roth, tax-free forever. The savings are real. Financial planning models estimate a well-executed gap year strategy saves between $120,000 and $700,000 in lifetime taxes. A couple retiring at 62 with $1 million traditional IRA can typically convert $85,000 to $129,000 a year and stay inside the 22 or 24% bracket. 2 things to watch. Always pay the conversion tax from outside funds, never from the converted amount. And conversions affect Medicare premiums 2 years later through IRMA. A 2026 conversion hits 2028 premiums. Stay $5,000 to $10,000 below each tier to avoid the cliff. Here's the punchline. Every dollar you convert and invest in growth ETFs inside that Roth compounds tax-free for decades. The conversion might cost 22 cents on the dollar today, but the tax-free growth over 20 or 30 years is worth multiples of that cost. You need to plan for it before you retire, not after. Your Roth game plan starts today. The 2026 catch-up limit is $8,600. That's the most tax-free space you've ever had. The deadline is April 15, 2027. Every month you wait is another month of tax-free compounding you don't get back. Fill that space with investments that earn the shelter. SCHG for growth, SCHD for tax-free dividends and real diversification, VTI for total market breadth, AVUV for the small cap value factor at a generational discount. Put them in the right accounts. And if you're in the gap years, explore conversions before the window closes. Your Roth is the last account you touch, and the first one you should fill with growth. If someone you know is over 50 and still figuring out what belongs in their Roth, share this video with them right now. It could save them real money they'd never get back. I want to hear from you. After watching this, are you thinking about changing what's inside your Roth, or are you already close to this mix? Drop your current portfolio in the comments. I'd love to compare notes. If you're building retirement income and want to stay ahead of changes like this, subscribe to Dividend Hustle. I cover everything that protects your income, your taxes, and your peace of mind. Next week, I'm breaking down the gap year Roth conversion step by step, the exact tax brackets to target, the IRMA traps to avoid, and the 5-year rule that trips up almost everyone. You don't want to miss it.